www.villemmusic.com.
Easy Crew, and today we're going to talk about a concept I'm going to call hiding the EQ. This is a technique that we can use to keep our tracks full and fat and to balance all the different layers of tracks, especially when you've got a lot of musical elements happening. A lot of times you'll have frequency clashes, and when you're trying to get a decent heavy sounding mix down, when those frequencies clash together, you're going to get distortion. Especially when you're using, say, like a Rhodes keys sample, like we've got on this track here, this is a track called No More Games. It's just been released on Spearhead Records. It's a track from myself and Mcleod, and it's got some really lush keys that happen in the intro, and then we continue them onto the drop when the bass kicks in. Now, what we were finding is if we just left the keys as they were in the intro, every time the bass kicked in, we were getting distortion. Now, you could just turn the master down, but we want it to be up there and sounding fat and full. So let's go through the technique I'm talking about. In green here, you can see I've highlighted the Rhodes key samples. And this is basically all being bounced down from Mcleod's studio, and then we've mixed it down here. So we've probably already EQ'd these keys prior to this mix down, but still we needed to go in and EQ further. At the moment there's nothing on this channel. This is just left un-EQ'd. This is because it's in the intro. There's plenty of space for the keys to sit. There's no bass kicking in, and as the track progresses, the bass kicks in, and I've separated the keys onto a different channel and used an EQ to scoop out 100 hertz, and we've done 9 dB. So that's a fairly hefty scoop. Let's have a listen and see the difference. So it has just made it thinner, less warm, but in the context of the overall mix, you barely notice it. That's why I've called it hiding the EQ, because you don't notice the EQ is happening. The EQ just kicks in, and your ear is sort of picking up on the other elements, like the bass that fills up that frequency. So the frequency range stays the same. So the bass kind of takes over that bit that was scooped out just here. And then this way you can then push your master and you can get more gain, you get rid of the distortion. I prefer to use scoops like this rather than a full cut. And the reason is when you use a full cut, the EQ tends to boost around the hump of the cut, if we can use that word. And then you actually get an increase in level, oddly. So I prefer to use a scoop. There's less increases in volume, and it's a bit neater. So yeah, I mean that's basically the concept. But you can just take that, and wherever you get distortion, I mean if you pushed it too hard on the master and then you realise that your track's sounding louder than everyone else's, then obviously that's the issue. But if your track sounding about the same level but you've got distortions, then you need to try and sort of troubleshoot as to why the distortion's happening, and just need to try and find out which sample is creating the distortion. So what I'll do, I'll run the track, and then I'll just mute out different samples until you found the troublesome sample. Like at this point in the track, because there is a vocal that happens at the same time as the keys, I've then EQ'd in a different spot, and that's to let through the vocal part. I've also split the vocal down because I was there was just a lot of distortion happening at that point, and it was just a trial and error. Yes, I've used the cutoff on this one. Sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's not. Again, you just have to play. There's no hard and fast rules. I mean, this was, probably a year ago almost now. So, and I'm learning myself, and I'm learning that these cutoffs, they cause issues. So maybe that was the issue, and I didn't even realize. So just more EQ, and this is on the vocals, just scooping out little bits and bobs here, just so when all the elements come together, there's less distortion, and it's like a little puzzle piece. You're scooping out 600 hertz because the keys have got 600 hertz, so you're scooping out 600 hertz from the vocal, or vice versa. And it's this way that you can just keep troubleshooting, and that's how you get your overall mix downs really fat and warm, because you're piecing up the frequencies so they don't build up on top of each other. I will say that this is something that just takes a while to learn, and it is really just trial and error. And also you need some good speakers, and you need to treat your room, because without having room treatment, then it's kind of like an artist drawing a picture but with foggy glasses on. You're not seeing the proper picture. You're getting a distorted view of the sound, because the walls are pinging back lots of frequencies back within your listening space. So you need to treat your walls, which is a whole nother separate issue, but something I recommend. So there you go, guys. Quick one. I hope you enjoy. Peace.